Hi guys, I am going to give a few example problems on the Punnett Square worksheet just in case you're having a difficult time. In the worksheet, it does give you a pretty good example. And so if you are having trouble after this video, or if you're having trouble even after you look at the examples, go ahead and give me a call and we can set up a Zoom or a Skype meeting. That way you guys make sure you master this. All right, so following the steps that we talked about when we did the Punnett Square lecture, let's go ahead and do step one. So step one is going to tell you to determine the gametes or the alleles that each parent is going to give you. So first off, we have a green plant. Okay, so that's going to be our phenotype. And then we have big G, little g, or heterozygous genotype. And that's going to be crossed with a yellow plant, so that's its phenotype, and little g, which is its genotype. So we are going to be crossing big G with little g, little g. Now, since big G is present and it's going to mask this allele, we know automatically that green is dominant in this case, okay? And that big G is going to code for green and little g is going to be the allele for yellow. So then I'm going to take my parent and then I'm going to put them on my Punnett square. Now, in the lecture, it told you need to put female on top, male on the side. It doesn't really matter. In fact, in this problem, it doesn't even tell us. So it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and put big G, little g, with my little g, little g. Okay? And then I'm going to drop those alleles into the box. Okay? So pretty simple. So I'm going to take a big G right here, a big G right here. Then I'm going to take little g, that one little g, little g, little g, little g, little g. So now I want to do my ratios. So remember, I need a phenotypic ratio and I need a genotypic ratio, and I'm going to list all possible outcomes, even if they may not exist in my Punnett square. Okay, so let's do the phenotype first. Okay, so my two possible phenotypes in this case are going to be green and yellow. We know green is dominant and yellow is going to be recessive. So looking at these, if I see a dominant allele, which is the big G, I know that it's green. So in this case, I have 2 green and 2 yellow. All right. Now I'm going to do my genotypic ratio. So there are 3 possible genotypes. So we're going to have big G, big G, big G, little g, and little g, little g. Okay, so I'm just going to straight up count them in my Punnett square. I don't have any big G's or homozygous dominant, so I'm going to put 0. I have 2 heterozygous genotypes, and I have 2 homozygous recessive. So some further questions might ask you, like, what is the probability that you would have a green plant? And you would say, well, 2 out of 4 would be 50%. Okay, would be the probability of a yellow, 50%. What's the probability that I would have a homozygous dominant? And that would be 0%. Okay, so those are just some interpretations from your outcomes of the Punnett square. And remember, this is the probability of offspring. This doesn't mean you're having 4 babies and half of them are going to be green and half of them are going to be yellow. Okay, It's just the probability that it's going to be. So it's a 50% chance that you are going to have a green, or a 50% chance that you're going to have a yellow. And every single time, it's a 50-50 chance again, okay? So every single time, it's like having a boy or a girl. There's a 50% chance every single time. So if you have a boy the first time, that doesn't mean you're automatically going to have a girl the next, okay? It starts completely over. Now on the back, there are word problems. So let's go ahead and read through. So it's that vocab again. So it says a homozygous dominant mouse is crossed with a heterozygous brown mouse. And it tells us tan is the recessive color. Now you can choose the allele letter that you want. In this case, I'm going to choose B. So I'm going to say B is brown and it's dominant. And little b is going to be tan. So I have a homozygous dominant, so that means I have 2 of the same allele that are dominant, and I'm crossing it with a heterozygous brown mouse, okay? So it's heterozygous. All right, so now we're going to do our alleles. So we know that we're going to give, this is going to give a B, big B, big B. This one's going to give a big B and a little b. We're going to draw our Punnett square. Okay, I'm going to put big B right here. So I've just taken my parents and put them into the Punnett square. Now I'm going to complete the Punnett square. And I'm going to do my ratios. So now my 2 phenotypic phenotypes are going to be brown and tan. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to see what is my probability that I'm going to have a brown. And looking and knowing that this B is dominant, I know I'm going to have 4 brown and none of them are going to be tan. Now I'm going to do my genotypic ratio. Okay, so I'm going to look how many big B's. I have 2. How many heterozygous? I have 2. And how many homozygous recessive? I don't have any. All right, so those are our ratios, and those are just word problems. So you kind of have to go through and decipher a little bit, but I know you guys can do it. If you are still having problems with this worksheet, do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks, guys.